Welcome everyone to another episode of Futurecast, where we dive into the dynamic world of ideas and trends shaping the future. I'm Madalena Borges de Sousa, Community Engagement and Alumni Relations Executive Director here at Nova. And today we'll be discussing one of the most important and rapidly evolving topics of our time, the future of work. But how does this mean for the future of work? Will robots take over our jobs, or will we find new ways to work alongside them? How will we adapt to new technologies and changing demands? And what role will education, training, and lifelong learning play in helping us stay ahead of the curve? In this episode, I have the honor of hosting a true luminary in the world of talent and the future of work. Our guest today is none other than Steve Cadigan, a sought-after expert whose influence extends to some of the most prestigious organizations globally. From shaping talent strategy at Google to advising organizations like Manchester United, the Royal Bank of Scotland, Sequoia, McKinsey, and even the city of Lisbon, Steve's impact on the world of work is truly remarkable. That's not all. Here's some breaking news for our listeners. Steve is now part of the Nova SBE family as a professor of practice. Welcome, Steve. Welcome to the family.
Madalena, I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be joining the Nova family. And you're right, this is a big topic, the future of work. So I'm excited to dive in and talk a little bit more with you and the Futurecast audience around, what's coming.
Great. So to kick things off, in your experience, what are the key trends shaping the future of work, and how should organizations prepare for them?
How much time do we have? Because there's a lot. I would say if I were to boil down the major things that are changing the world of work, number one is the changing psychology of the workforce. I think everyone through the pandemic was put in a situation where they see their life different and making different decisions and choices around where they want to spend their time, how they want to spend their time, who they want to spend their time with. Simple changes from people saying, I don't want to commute anymore, to I would like to work from home in different places. It's really, the workforce is going through a real renaissance in terms of their thinking about what I want to do and where I want to work. And we're seeing that in the data. The data is showing more people are staying shorter in an organization. More people are making career switches, not just changes, but career switches. Yeah. We're seeing students in universities around the world change majors and change subjects of study a lot faster than ever before. And when the students start changing their behavior, that means that the folks entering the workforce, a lot of knowledge workers, are going to be arriving with a different set of expectations and a different set of skills and experiences. So those are really, really big ones. I also think that, if we take a look at the landscape of work, things like job skills are changing faster than ever. And this is really frustrating for companies and for professionals. Because in the past, when I started my career, for example, you learned a skill, you can use that skill your whole career, generally speaking. And companies didn't change that much over the course of your career. Now, companies are changing every year. The skills they need are new. And our capacity to build skills to keep up with the changes of technology is just falling behind. Yeah. So new technologies, we need new skills. New technology, we need new skills. It's just growing. And so that's fundamentally really challenging organizations, and it's challenging people to say, well, what should I study? What is the most important skill? So yeah, it's a big change, but those are the big ones.
All these choices that you talk about, they bring ambiguity to people's lives, and what you were saying about having to learn new skills, or maybe it's not so much as learning new skills that people have to do, but learning how to deal with not knowing what the skill is even, and dealing with ways to adapt to decision-making that is more flexible. So how can we prepare actually to have this way that is totally different way of learning?
Well, I think that you're bringing up one of the biggest questions I'm asked by clients all over the world, which is, if skills are changing quickly, if people are changing jobs more quickly, how does that affect how I think about my people? And what I think we're moving into is a reality where we're going to have to start changing how we think about work from just a place of doing to a place of learning and doing. This is why, one of the reasons, many reasons why I'm excited to work with Nova, because Nova is building an ecosystem to support organizations around the world, nonprofits, businesses, other institutions, even other schools. And I'm excited by that because we're all facing this challenge. I work with hospitals, schools around the world. I work with businesses around the world. And everyone's struggling to figure, how do we think differently about building a future where people aren't staying as long, but we need new skills. And I think it starts with, the fact that the most important skill that we can teach is one that you hinted at really well in that question, which is the skill of learning new things quickly is the power skill of the future. If I know that the future will need new skills and I know my job will change, I'm more valuable if I can learn new things quickly. Yeah. And I almost think, and this is going to scare the audience a little bit, I almost think that in the next 10 years, we're going to start to see people being hired not based on what they know, but based on what they can learn. Because jobs are changing that fast. And that's something that we're not really prepared for. So most businesses, for example, are not schools. And in the future, businesses are going to needing to be more like a school, where yes, you do, but you also learn while you do, which means new projects and new assignments and new challenges so that I'm stretching you. And I know you know this because you and I talk about this, that you like working here because you don't do the same thing every day. Every day is a new puzzle and a new challenge. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And for traditionalists who've been in the market a long time, like, whoa, I don't want all these new things, slow it down. And that's the challenge, is how do we build confidence in adopting these new ways of working, right?
Yeah, actually, confidence is a great point, because we have all these new generations coming up to the job market. And although they do have the ability to learn maybe faster than even our generations when we were their age, they don't have the confidence to have even the autonomy or to take decisions in a very unstable environment. And on the other hand, you have older people, not very old, but older people on the job market that have the experience on one same thing, and have the maturity, and so they have the ability they have the confidence. They just have to learn how to navigate it in a fast changing environment. So how are we going to get these two so different generations together, in what we now are having, like this future of work, how we are going to have them together?
I guess I would start by answering that and saying that first, let's recognize this is not a new problem. Every generation is different. Every generation has different patterns. But as you point out, the pace of change is really accelerating. And so the more seasoned, the more elder workers are not, experienced with how fast jobs are changing. And so one of the things that I think should inspire confidence is we actually have been dealing with lots of change. And if we look at just the last 3 years, all of our lives changed a lot, and we're okay. It wasn't perfect. It was hard. But I think we're recognizing that our capacity to learn new things is maybe greater than we thought. So one of the suggestions in some organizations I work with is to consider reverse mentoring. Usually we think of mentoring as the seasoned person with the junior person. And now I'm seeing organizations pair a junior person with a senior person. And the best example I can offer you in my own family was pretty simple during the pandemic. And this gives me hope for the future. My father could not learn how to use Zoom. He just couldn't. He was so frustrated. This doesn't work, this doesn't work. And if you think of a lot of tools we use in technology today, they're not perfect, and they're always improving. In fact, some people say if you ship a software product that's completely perfect, you waited too long, that the market's moving really quickly. So my father really frustrated that he can't get Zoom to work the way he wants to. My children, they don't expect anything's gonna work right. They're expecting it's gonna be something they're gonna have to learn and reboot and turn off and turn on and reinstall the software and play around with it to try to find a way to make it work for their benefit. And I think those are skills that I enjoy. I love watching how they problem solve. There's no fear and there's no expectations that it should be perfect, right? And I think it's that notion that we're all a work in progress, and work is really in fast motion progress right now. And so try to take some confidence from the past and recognize we've never had a generation behind us that we said, wow, they're smarter, faster, and they have a better work ethic. It's always like, oh, there's all kinds of problems with them. But I think this young generation is really very thoughtful and very creative.
Steve, let's talk a little bit about your book, Work Quick. Could you share the inspiration behind this title and how this came up?
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote this whole book and I never had a name for the book. I didn't know what it was going to be. And every name I had was really long and didn't make any sense. And so I finished the book, and my inspiration for writing it was that I was finding in my work over the last 5 years before I wrote it that increasingly employees and collaborators are uncomfortable and dissatisfied, and businesses are uncomfortable and dissatisfied. So both parties in work are feeling like not happy. This isn't trending right. Companies saying, people are not staying, I can't find people, I can't recruit people easily, and when I hire them, they leave. And employees saying, I don't like work, I don't like my manager, I don't like, I'm not engaged, I'm not feeling inspired. And so both of these things are happening, and I said, we need a new way of thinking about this relationship that inspires both. For example, one thing that most companies try to do is keep people a long time, but all the data is showing people are staying less and less. So I'm trying to help organizations say, just because they're staying less doesn't mean you can't build a great business. It doesn't mean you can't build a great culture, but you think this model of success means they have to stay longer. And here are 40 companies where people don't stay a long time that are amazing. So stop, thinking that that's the only measure of building a great business is people stay a long time. There's good reasons why we want people to stay a long time. We build trust, we build confidence, you build new skills. I trust you're going to get it done. But the market's changing now. So big important skills for companies are adaptability and agility. If someone's staying in a job in your company a long time, is that building agility or adaptability? No, it's not.
And actually, you were talking about all these new jobs that came up and all these industries and everything, and that came up with technology, with the advancements of the internet and everything. So now we are, there's this narrative about robots coming, AI and everything. But this is not new. I would like to know a little bit more how you see this wave, this narrative, and going forward, because we just saw that actually this happened before, and we came to deal with it. But what do you think now of this AI wave and everything? How will this impact in our future of work?
Yeah, you asked earlier, the big forces shaping the future of work. I mean, I didn't mention AI only because it is still such a enigma. It is really hard for us to grasp. It's such a difficult concept. It is not a system that we put into a computer. I mean, it's everything together and then some, and we're still grappling with that. So I'm spending a lot of time in the last year really becoming a student of artificial intelligence. But I'm sad because every article, every narrative, every piece in the media that you see is scary. It's going to take, robots are taking, now artificial intelligence, people are going to lose thousands of jobs. That's right. And we're not hearing artificial intelligence be introduced for us to be more productive, to have more beautiful life, maybe fewer work days are needed, maybe we can have more productivity, we feel more excited and motivated about making a bigger impact, and taking away some of the things that maybe are not as challenging, that involving human skills. Yeah. And so this is the thing that I think is good about where we seem to be going, which is being human and using human skills, communication, empathy, leadership has never been more important, because systems and AI will help us, eliminate some of the, more basic rudimentary tasks and actions that we have. But honestly, it's so early right now. Even the creators of artificial intelligence are as worried as they are excited about the future of how that plays. And so where I sit today as we record this is, I think we're in a position where we all have a responsibility to learn what is AI. And the other thing about AI is it's not something that you learn, it's something that you continuously need to learn because AI is changing. And all the creators say, this year maybe we can do something 10 times better, and next year or 2 years from now, 100 times better. And the year after, maybe 1,000 times better. So the change is no longer linear, the change is more logarithmic, and it's really, it's intimidating. honestly, in terms of where we sit. But we do know one thing: things are going to be different. Let's study them. But I'm, where I'd like to change the conversation. I had a whole big class last night around this topic, which is I think we need to see this moment with artificial intelligence as our chance to win back who's running our lives. Because right now I feel like technology is making us feel behind. It's making us feel stressed and overworked. Let's take back ownership to create a more human future.
So more to leverage the human behavior and capabilities than substitute or do anything else.
That's right.
So every time maybe we try to identify a company that is using AI correctly or well, would be that they are actually leveraging their workforce and doing better and better and even better for the workforce with AI, not substituting all their workforce for robots and computers, right?
Right. That's right. And that is a really great point that you make, Madalena, which is if you're running a business right now and the first way that you use AI is to cut jobs, how do you think your rest of your staff is going to feel? How do you think the people applying for jobs in your company feel? That's the first way that you're leveraging it is to cut expenses and to be more efficient. Of course, we need to leverage technology to be more efficient, but I strongly urge you, the starting point is to make people feel more fulfilled, to try to find a way that's not the first one, because that's what you see in the media more than anything right now, and it's a miss in my book.
Steve, another question, totally different, but so you were the first CHR officer of LinkedIn. How did that time on LinkedIn influence this perspective on the future of work? That experience for me was radical from every other job I ever had. Every other job I had was a big company. And when you're in human resources in a big company, you're fixing what someone made before you. You're tuning it, you're adjusting it, you're tweaking it to make it fit for the future plans, whatever that is, right? Culture, policy, practices, compensation, all these things. When I went to LinkedIn, really was soft clay. There was really nothing. It was 4 or 5 years old. There's 400 people. Believe it or not, there was nothing really formed. They were really focused on building a product. They're really focused on trying to hire people, but they hadn't thought about an organization structure. How many levels? What is our philosophy of how to pay people? What is our philosophy around how long you should stay or how not? What is our investment in people strategy? Just hadn't thought about it. Not because they didn't want to, they were just too busy building the business. What was amazing for me was I got to build human resources pretty much out of nothing. And I was terrified. I'd never done it before. I mean, I knew how to fix what was already there. I didn't know how to start from nothing. And so, I remember the first weeks on the job, we were having a big discussion, argument, debate around how should we give people feedback? Should we do a performance review? Should we not do a review? If we do a review, should we have a rating? If we have a rating, should it be 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 7? And if it's 1 to 5, should it be 3 decimal place, 2 decimal place? And then if we do a review and a rating, should we tell the employee? Should we not tell the employee? Should it be every 6 months, every year, every 2 years, every quarter? So many decisions.
Should we write it down? And what should be the criteria that we're measuring? Performance, potential? And so you're like, what? You guys have been around 5 years, you don't have this stuff worked out? No, it's important, but we'll get to it later. And the company was doing okay without that, all right? So that's another thing, like, I'd never been somewhere where that didn't even exist. So at first, it scared me so much. But then I said, wow, I got a chance to take all the lessons of my career, all the things I thought were broken or mistakes that I made, and try to build a better model. And that's really hard. The first hard part was getting everyone to agree. Because when there's something there, everyone has an opinion on how it could be better. But when there's nothing there, then everyone has an opinion on how it should be. And that was really crazy. But it was a good process, and I'd never gone through that. And that was for everything. How do we pay people? How often do we review for promotions and levels and rewards and all these things? So it was really, wow, such a learning experience for me, unlike anything I ever did. But whatever you do for a living, if you have to start from nothing and build it for the first time, you will be so much better for it in the end.
While you were H&R director, did you at that time try to work on retention? because you advocate a lot that it's not about so much about retention, is about nurturing people while they're there, but preparing them to leave.
That's right.
So
And this is
when you were in the shoes, how did you work that?
Yeah, great question, Madalena. I think it's both. I want my best people to stay as long as possible, but I also knew that I couldn't have that be an outcome for everyone. So I was expecting that people were going to go at a certain point. What I did have was a great mission. At LinkedIn, we were helping people find their dream jobs, and that's a beautiful aspiration, right? Versus all these other companies making interesting things, but not solving a problem as big as mine. That's going to help your children, your grandchildren, create a better universe of a really good role for a really good company and a really good person. So I had to try to recognize that, okay, we hated it when someone left. It hurt our feelings because we're a new company, and why would you leave? We're nice people. And but then when I realized I can't stop it from happening, so we would start an interview over time. We would start asking people in the interview, okay, when you leave the company, what do you want to be doing? Like, what do you want to achieve when you're here? And do you have an expectation for, where you want to go next? And if you do, how can I help you get there? So when someone sees that you're trying to help them not just stay, but you're trying to help them be a better professional, better person, then you have a real conversation. Many companies say, oh, can you commit to stay here a long time? And the person says, oh yeah. And then the candidate says, will you commit to keep me employed a long time? Oh yeah. But both people now know that's not really a commitment that we can make. The world is changing too quickly. So let's commit to something bigger, which is I care about you as long as you're alive. When you leave, I still care about you. We'll still meet. You're still important to me. And that's where I think that we have to think bigger about, in a more fluid world of work, you have to care. Yes, you want your people to stay, but you can't be surprised if they go, because they have more choices.
You touched there a point that is very dear to me also. It's not that you care for people when they're here, you care for people after they're gone. So, and that's alumni relations, and it's what I work every day. Do you think, a company should be investing more in their alumni, for instance, that they're doing now? What's your experience? What have you seen work so far?
That's a great question. The answer is yes, but let me explain. My conversations with a lot of business leaders today are, what's the biggest trend that you're seeing? They said, my staff's just not staying. I said, okay, well, if that's true, if you're telling me that's what the data is showing, then you have more alumni, you have more ex-employees than you've ever had. In fact, every company has more alumni than they've ever had. And they go, oh, that's true. I said, are you talking to them? And they say, no, they divorced us. They're the girlfriend of the boyfriend that said, no, I don't want you anymore. So our feelings are hurt. And I said, you can't think that way. Caring about your alumni is super easy. It's free. It's just an investment of time. And so I say, if you're having trouble recruiting, that's a pool of people that already worked here that maybe they want to come back. Sometimes when people leave, and this is probably 50% of the time someone goes somewhere, they're not liking it. So maybe if you keep in touch and you say, we're going to have monthly luncheons, or we're going to have monthly Zoom calls with alumni, or we're going to have a talk about how we can help you find another job, whatever that is, those people will feel that you care. And LinkedIn, of the 6 companies I work for over the course of my career, that's the only one that regularly reaches out to me. And it's funny that we're recording this now, because last month I was the Alumni of the Month for LinkedIn.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And they reached out to me, and they, what are you doing now? And what would you like to say? What was your best memory? What was the craziest story that you had? And it was just for fun, right? And so I had some friends reach out to me, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. What are you doing? It's so good to hear from you. And that's something that I think schools are some schools are okay. It's funny, tonight, as you know, we were talking about this off air, I'm going to an alumni event for Nova. Yeah. So that is a great investment, right? Is to keep the community. As you mentioned earlier, learning is not just when you're in school, it's for the rest of our lives. And so that comes with meeting new people that have new ideas and sharing all that. So I think it's a great way to start is just to reach out to the community and see if there's an interest in having a conversation, and then go from there.
We didn't say the name, but we are talking about networking right now. in these alumni relations and events, and even LinkedIn, the product is to build your professional network, to get your name set in a room full of opportunities. So, right, you just want to be connected with people, and that's in your book also a skill for the future.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Yeah, if I look at how I got the job at LinkedIn, have I told you this story? This is a great story.
No,
Okay.
but I read it in your book.
Okay.
And I have a laugh out loud.
Yeah.
A very good one.
Yeah, so those of you who are listening to this, who have children, will really appreciate this story. So one day, I'm at a video game company, Electronic Arts, and my son has been invited to a birthday party for someone from his daycare. He's like 5 years old. We're gonna go to this birthday party at an amusement park for kids, like a small Disneyland for kids, okay? And I was like, oh, great. I'm gonna go be around kids yelling and screaming, eating sugar, making loud noises. I was like, I would rather stay home and sleep and, sleep in late.
We know that feeling.
My son really wanted to go. So when your son wants to go, you say,
go.
Let's go. Well, what happens when I'm there is I meet someone who's applying for a job at LinkedIn. We became friends. I said, I'm in human resources. Maybe I can help you negotiate a good package at LinkedIn. I've been doing this for years. So I tried to help him. I don't know if I did, but we kept in touch. And I saw him regularly because we're picking our kids up at the same daycare. And so about a month or two later, he calls me and says, hey, we're looking for someone at LinkedIn to be in HR, and you'd be great. Would you like to do it? And that led to a conversation, which led to interviews, which led to a job offer, which led to my life changing from a kid's birthday party. And you just don't know when your arc of your life will change just by meeting someone. And I wasn't going there looking to network. Yeah. When we think about networking today, we think of meeting strangers at a cocktail party, and it feels really awkward. Not for me. If you've got kids, you've got something every week for networking, whether it's watching them play sports and talking to the other parents, or talking to the coach, or talking to the parents of the kids on the other team, whatever it is, you're running into people all the time.
And being consistent also, so that you consistent in a way that it's very true, that you just want to meet people because you want to know a little bit more about them, not because you want something from them.
That's right. That's right. Someone once said pretty good definition of networking is just helping people that you know. That's all. Helping others, not asking for help, helping people and then keeping in touch and building a relationship. Not trying to go to an environment where there's a bunch of strangers. I don't think that works.
Thank you, Steve, so much for being here today. And thank you to our listeners. Stay tuned for the next episode of Futurecast. My name is Madalena, and I'm signing off.